Before we highlight the best and most challenging car shipping locations in this state, generally speaking, the best car shipping locations are going to be the biggest cities, followed by those locations on or near interstates. You'll have the quickest and least expensive auto transports from these locations. The most challenging car shipping locations are going to be in remote towns and cities. These are towns and cities that are more than 50 miles away from major cities or interstates. It takes more time and costs more money to ship a car to or from these remote locations. With these general guidelines in mind, let's look at the best and most challenging car shipping locations in this state. All right, as we take a look at the state of New York, the best car shipping locations in New York is going to be White Plains down to Yonkers, that pocket right in there. And the reason for that is you're still obviously where the bulk of the state's population is, and this is where most of the car carriers are concentrated, which is New York City, that whole area there. That's where all the activity is taking place. But car carriers don't have to go into the city, so they don't have to deal with as many tolls. They don't have to deal with the traffic and congestion and all the logistics of going into the city or Long Island. And so it makes for an ideal shipping location in New York. The next best locations to ship cars to or from New York are going to be New York City, of course, the five boroughs, and Long Island. That is going to be your best car shipping locations. Again, that's just where all the population is, and that's where all the car carriers are. But just know that anything into the city and Long Island and Staten Island, all of that area there, those transports are going to cost more money. They may take a little bit more time, again, just because of the logistics of sending trucks into those areas. There's lots of traffic they have to contend with and tolls they have to contend with. So those transports just become a little bit more complex. So they're just a little bit more money and take a little bit more time to complete. The next best locations to ship cars to or from New York are going to be along I-90 in upstate New York. So those are going to include the cities of Albany, over into Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. And everything along that corridor, those are going to be all solid car shipping locations. Now, the rest of the state can be challenging, particularly the northern section of upstate New York. So if I draw a line here, all of this here in this pocket are going to be particularly challenging. And then anything kind of in this pocket here can be challenging as well, particularly the further away you are from any of these interstates you see in New York. Of course, a lot of it also depends on what's on the other side of the transport, but just know that these two pockets are going to be your most challenging areas of New York to ship cars to or from. And then one final comment about the state of New York. If you're shipping a car from New York to Florida in late fall, that is the most expensive time of the year to ship a car from New York down into Florida, because of all the snowbirds are heading to Florida to winter there. So all the demand to ship cars, it's actually the highest that time of the year. So you're going to pay the most that time of the year. Now, the flip side is if by chance you are shipping a car from Florida to New York in late fall, so you're kind of going against the grain, that's actually the cheapest time of the year to ship a car to New York. Now, the flip side is when early spring rolls around and all those snowbirds down in Florida return back to New York, then the demand flips. So now the demand to ship cars to New York is at its peak for the year. So that is the most expensive time to ship cars to New York. Again, that's early spring. But again, the flip side of that is if you're going the opposite direction, if you just happen to be shipping from New York down to Florida in early spring, again, going against the grain, you're going to pay the least amount of money that time of year. So just be aware of that snowbird traffic and those snowbird transports because they may, in fact, impact you. To find out what it costs to ship a car to or from New York, get an instant quote on our website at www.jnstransport.com.